Hi again, everyone. Today we're going to be working on creating the floor template for the Alisha Dollhouse main room so that you can make a paper base to glue. For me, what I'm doing is Parquet wood flooring, to glue your Parquet wood flooring on and then just slip it in and adhere it to the wood surface. Pretty simple to do. You need 2 pieces of copy paper, for this room at least. It's a half scale, so 2 pieces will fit it nicely. I've drawn lines where the wall will end, well, where the floor will meet the wall, so that you'll know how to measure your paper guides. And all you do is you push your paper in and press in with your fingers to get the lines for where the wall is. This way you want it nice and tight. It'll go right up against the wall. On the edge, you'll just fold it where the line measurement is for your wall. On the other side, I'm going to make the overlap for the template at this wall. So I'll just fold that there. And then with this, I'm going to line the edge up with where it will meet the wall on that side. And then fold this at the same place so that we'll see where they meet. There you go. And then obviously, because this is short, I'm going to make a crease here so you can see how long it needs to be. Okay. And then once you pull it out, you will have the shape of your room. Obviously, I'm going to do this fast now because I have the completed template to show you afterwards. And you just cut out your shape. Be a little more careful when you're doing it for the actual template. I use a ruler and an X-Acto. Now, this is where my room ended, but I'm going to leave a little bit of a lip so that I can attach the 2 pieces of paper together. Okay, there we go with that one. Then this is where it, come on, I can do this, overlaps. Well, this is where the room ends on that side, but I left the lip on the other piece so I don't have to leave it here. Again, you're going to be a lot more careful when you're doing it for your full version. And then what you'll do is you'll just line it up with the line, tape it, and then obviously we're going to need to add another piece down here in order to complete the pattern. Now, once that's all done and it's taped together, you will have this, which, as you can see, fits the room perfectly. Wall to wall, front to back. Now, this has a pretty significant seam in it from the overlap, so I don't want that thickness there when I actually lay my floor. So what you'll have to do after that is you'll have to get a large sheet of paper like this, lay your template on it, trace it, cut it, which is what I'm going to do now, and then I will show you how we lay the wood floor. Hi everyone. Okay, so I'm going to be doing a double herringbone pattern on the floor, and just for reference, you'll see the different Parquet wood floor layouts. So I'll be doing this double herringbone, but I'm actually making a border around it that will be 2 panels wide. So the entire circumference of the floor, or the entire outline of the floor, is going to be 2 tiles wide. And then once I have this completed, I'll do the parquet and the rest, the double herringbone parquet and the rest of the floor. So what I'm actually doing right now is I'm laying them out around the edge of the floor, and I'm going to do the outline first, finishing up with all my little tiny pieces that need to be cut. For instance, in here where they meet up in the corner, because those are going to be a pain in the backside. So because it's so tiny, I'm doing the outline first. Then I will go back to the corners and cut those pieces. I'll figure out how. I'm not quite sure how. Actually, first I should find the center of this. Which is 7.5 inches. So 3 3/4 of the way in, right? 3 3/4. Actually, I think what I'll do is I'll just make it about the same. I'll make it about the same distance as this piece is right here. So let's just wing it. It is tiny, so hopefully it won't be that big a deal. And we will go in right there. That one's a little, I'm gonna have to cut that piece out. See, so I've already messed it up, but we'll cut that piece out and fix that corner when we get to it. In the meantime, we'll just keep laying these outer pieces until I get the entire outline done. Now there's adhesive on the back side of these, which is great because then I don't have to worry about glue too. And again, I'm going to be making these available to buy as soon as I set up my store. This is actually a walnut wood veneer. It's really nice, and I was trying to cut some pieces before just to play with corners, and it's a lot sturdier than it looks. Being as thin as it is, it was a little bit tough to cut. So that makes me happy. At least I know it'll hold up. And again, just laying them on to complete the outline. I didn't think so clearly about my measuring and all that, but those pieces are going to be up, hidden a little bit more than you can see them now. So that makes me happy. I'm just going to finish this, and then I'll come back to it and show you how it looks once the outline is done. Just keep laying them down on the corners. All right, see you in a few minutes. Hi everyone, just continuing work on the Alisha Dollhouse floor. I decided to change up the pattern. I had said earlier that I was going to do the double herringbone, but you know, this is my first time doing a wood floor, and I figured I'd go a little easier on myself, so we're just doing the mosaic pattern, which I'm liking just as much. You'll see I put this border around, and I'm going to make these first two planks a darker color, so it won't look like there's extra planks going in this direction on the borders, because these will be darker. And I'm just going to show you a little bit about how it's being done. Now, I've cut all these little veneer pieces. This is a walnut wood veneer, and they came backed with a 3M adhesive, but I put masking tape on the front so that when I cut them with the laser burner, it wouldn't damage the wood. So I just had to peel off all the front-facing tapes. I decided to do that before working with them just to make it easier so that I wouldn't have to keep peeling off double sides. And then you have the one plank left. And this is the back side, which has the adhesive on it, which makes it really nice for laying the floor on the paper. And I just peel that off and then lay my floor. So you just keep putting piece by piece. You'll see here this little extra I had to add here. For some reason, when I cut the second set of pieces, they came out just a hair thicker than the original pieces that I cut, and I'm not quite sure why that happened. So in some of them I had to add a little bit, but then in other places I decided just to move the tile over and add this little tiny square there, which I actually like better, but what's done is done, and I'm just going to continue with it. Hopefully, once it's in the house and everything's decorated, you won't notice it quite so much. Next time I'll definitely know better. And all you do is you just peel off the adhesive and lay the piece right up against the previous piece. And it sticks nice. So I'm saving the border pieces where there is definitely going to be some cutting required for the end, because why stress myself out early on when I can just do it all at once at the end. And this, I just got to make sure I get it even, nice and flush. And again, just use my X-Acto to peel off that adhesive backing. And nice and flush. I'll tell you, doing this, I realize how bad my eyes really are, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I was able to get 6 with the original cut, and I don't know why it cut differently this time, because I certainly didn't. This is going to have to come off because it's not going to flush up good against that. I certainly didn't change the pattern or anything. It's still the same pattern I used to cut the first set. I'll have to check that out. But I already started laying them once I figured out that that was going to be a problem, and by then it was too late. So now this one, flush up against. It's not perfect, but then again, my house is going to be a rustic French country farmhouse, so I guess we had to do some repair work on the flooring. That's going to be my backstory anyway. Next one, I'll definitely make sure to cut as many pieces as I think I'll need right from the start. I won't have to worry about the different kerning. I guess it's all with the kerning, when the way the laser cuts and that kind of thing. Okay, so there's that. And you just keep following your pattern. See, that one I'll have to add a little square. But that's okay. I like adding the little square better. I think it definitely looks better. And were I thinking straight, I would have done that right from the beginning. But of course, I didn't think of it right away. So there we go. Oh, my daughter's going out. And the dogs here are leaving. Okay, so there's that now. See, it really looks nice. And I don't know if you can tell in the, yeah, you can. It looks darker going one way and lighter going the other way, which I really like. I think that looks nice. All right, next. And now we're going up again. Oh, I'm gonna have to watch. See, now this is where it gets a little high there. We'll see when we get to it how we're gonna take care of that. I think I'm gonna cut them now this way. And I'll cut the next set, next ones before I take the adhesive off. Because that obviously is gonna wreck my paper. Okay, there's that. A little bit more. Yep, see, I told you. All right, put those to the side. And then I can save these pieces for when I need my little squares.
3. 4. 5. And that piece I'll do upside down so that I don't stick it to anything in case I need it. Or I can actually try to put this back on it. There we go. Okay, good. All right. Now back to peeling adhesive. The nice thing about these little pieces too is they don't fall apart. They're a little bendy. You have a little room to work with them, and they don't just fall apart underneath your knife. And I think that's solely because of the adhesive on the back, but for whatever reason, at least they don't crumble and break apart when you're working with them. Nice, okay. And I'll just have to keep this up all the way to the end. Here we're working on one too that's got another little bit of a overhang. I really have to figure out why that happened. It's very annoying actually. 2. 3. 4. Making a big hole in there. 5. There we go. All right. I know I'll get better as I do more of these, but you want to be perfect from the beginning, right? It doesn't always happen that way. But that's okay, too. I mean, this is handmade. I am learning how to do all of this. So, you have to learn as you go. And I like to, I mean, obviously I follow a lot of miniaturists and a lot of tutorials and stuff, but for the most part, I'm a learn as I go person. All right, that one's a little off. I'm not happy with that one at all, so let's see if we can. Might have to cut 2 more there. Let's see. Will this one stick again? Okay. Let's see. There we go. Okay, take the edge off. I really would like to know how this, I'm gonna have to, I'm sorry, I'm talking out loud. But you see, we're gonna have to be cutting it again. All right, I think I'm going to keep working on this, and I'll bring it back when we get a little closer to the end. This way you don't have to sit through all the tediousness of my mistakes. I'll be back soon. So we've made some pretty good progress on finishing the floor, and I did figure out the mystery of the different size tiles, strips. So when I created the file originally, I created it with just, I think, like 40 or 50 of the strips in the file. And then when I created a final version, I cut and pasted, or copied and pasted, the test file onto a new file. And somehow it got lost in the translation when I cut and pasted. I don't know if I accidentally adjusted the size or what happened, but that's the tile mystery. Either way, I deleted the file with the larger pieces, although they're not that much larger, and I kept the file with the smaller pieces. So now we won't be making that mistake again. But as you can see, it's just about done. I'm going to do a little bit more now, and hopefully we'll be able to get this video up tomorrow. All right, be back soon. All right, so we're finally down to the bare bones of this thing and just about finished. So I figure we'll do that part together. As I've gotten to the back here, it's a little bit off kilter, so not squared. And I'm not quite sure how that happened, probably just from the pieces stretching, or because there were some places where I kind of pushed the piece in a little bit because there was just such a little margin left to the space that I just kind of forced it in, but I'm not sure if that's exactly why it got that way. In either case, sure was an intense project, and I'm finally glad it's just about done. Although, with the exception of the kitchen and the bathroom, I will definitely be using, now this is where you see there's like that little tiny lip that needs to go in, so I'm just using the back of my X-Acto to push it in and kind of stretch the paper to fit it in. And it works, it just gives it a little tiny buckle, but when I glue this down in the house, there shouldn't be a problem. And as you can see here on this square, it's not all that big a difference. More of a nuisance, I think, at this point. But the nuisance is going to be having to fit that last piece in there, I'll tell you. And then you just cut out the piece to fit. It's been fun, though, and I have to say, I really, really like the way it looks. I'm very excited with my first venture into creating a custom wood floor. And I learned a lot of things this way. One of the things I learned was in some spots I had to cut a really thin piece. For example, right here, this really, can you see it there? There's that really, really tiny thin piece. And I was trying to do it with the X-Acto by, you know, scoring a line on it and then cutting it. But what I found was happening was it was seriously deforming the piece of wood. So what I did was I got my handy dandy little nippers and used that to cut, which worked a heck of a lot better. Not perfect, but definitely a lot better. So now you can see this one's going to definitely require some finagling for the last piece that I get in there. Because it's not going to be quite the right size. It's going to definitely be off. But let's get this in there. The nice thing with this wood is it's thin, obviously, and the grain of it is going in the direction that I need for it to cut, so that's helping a lot. I think I can get that one a little bit tighter. There we go. All right, perfect. All right, the last piece. Are we ready? I know I'm ready. This has been quite the project. All right, so what I'll do is I will put it in this way here to get a line on this end, and then on this end, put it in here. Get a line on this end, which you can see is more like a much thinner. So we'll do from here to here, and we'll cut the line. And I think I'm going to probably need to do more than that, but we can definitely try this to start. And now with my nippers, I will cut this side off. And I'm going outside the line first just to double check. Yeah, I definitely need to get a little bit more off there, because I'd rather have to take more off than put. Can't really put it back once it's done now, can you? All right, let's see. Sorry, it's really tiny. It's not easy to grab there. There we go. Let's see how that did. Still more. And I'm definitely going to have to cut that. All right, so let's see what happens here. I think I did that off camera, didn't I? Sorry, guys. All right, we're getting there. A little bit more. Let's do this part on camera. Ready? I hope to get my recording skills up to par too. Let's try that first and see what happens. All right, I definitely got that edge in. Got to get this little bump here off. Little tiny bump here. So let's see, we got that. All right, and now at this point, I'm just going to take the adhesive off the back and start using my, there we go, much better. And then just as we push it in, let's get this edge off, because it'll be easier once that's done. A little bit more. All right, and now we can see, there we go, much better. All right. And now I'll use the back of it. Make sure it's in there good. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, these are our extra pieces. Get rid of those. All right, now let's take a look. And there it is, all finished. Huh. What do you think? I think I like it. Obviously, there are places where there are errors. And, you know, I had to add in pieces because of where I used the wrong pattern to cut it the second time around, to cut the planks. But if you're just looking at it, you have to really look for those spots. So it's not too bad, and I have to say I'm pretty happy. So here, I'll take the laid in the house. I'd say that looks pretty darn good. What do you think? Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. All right, next. I hope you enjoyed this. And I'm really excited now to move on to the next part of the project, which will probably be painting the walls inside, like painting these inside walls, attaching this wall and this wall, and then moving on to the kitchen floor. I don't know that I'm going to do full rooms at a time, but I think I want to get this base done and get that kitchen floor done. which will be a tile floor or maybe like a clay terracotta or something like that. Thank you so much for watching this video, and on to the next step. Have a great night, everyone. Bye.